A to Z on Wentzville, pretty congested. Southbound 170 bogs down at the Parkway. Westbound 64 on the brakes. Kings Highway out through McCausland, but it remains heavy in pockets out to Clayton Warson, and then again from Winghaven out to Highway 70. South 270 is delayed from Olive all the way down to Doherty Ferry, and 44 most of the way down to Gravois. Westbound 44, pretty good shape now coming out of the city. Eastbound 44, though, and 64, both jammed. 44 is east of Grand. 64 is closer to Jefferson, getting onto the Poplar because of those right lane closures. Eastbound 70 is jammed back across the Mutual Veterans Bridge to 64. 64 east of 255 through 157 is heavy. It's jammed on southbound 55, Arsenal to Bates, and midway down from M2 Highway Z toward the Joachim Creek is slow. Next update at 5:20 from the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Hi, guys. Welcome into Thursday. It's also, quote-unquote, opening day for us this week on Redbird Rush Hour. We haven't had much to work with.
I guess not, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had much to work with. We didn't have a show Monday or Tuesday because of the Eastern time starts, and yesterday because of the 3 o'clock start. So, hi. Happy new week.
We spent some time in the sports office watching the game
We did,
together.
so it felt like Redbird Rush Hour a little bit.
I felt like I've done a show with you this week.
Yeah, we've been talking ball, and, of course, we talked on DGS as well. A lot to do, man. I mean, we got an hour to set it up. The Cardinals are off tonight, so it's kind of a good reset night now. You're 12 games into the new season. And I think the overall vibe, Matt, is that so far it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. There are flaws. There are issues. There are things that are going to need to be fixed. And it's a long season. Now, I tell this to people every year, no matter how their team starts, good or bad. Just don't get too excited and don't get too upset. You're going to have great stretches for bad teams. And the Rockies just swept the Astros. Mm-hmm. You're going to have terrible stretches for good teams. Mariners are off to the worst start in baseball, and I think we all know they're pretty good. So, the 7-5 start isn't necessarily telling us what they're going to be, but it's fun, and it's showing us what maybe some of it can be as we move forward.
And it's okay to enjoy the way they've been playing. Like, I think it is very clear that this group of players cares. Like they're pulling in the same direction. If you want to be cliche, they're putting a very good effort on the field on a night in, night out basis. We don't know what it's going to look like in June, July, August. I'm not making any assumptions about that, but through the first 2 weeks of the season, I think the way that the team has played should be appreciated by Cardinals fans. And I don't think we have to put any disclaimer on that. It's just 2 weeks of pretty solid baseball.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're winning more than you're losing. You're playing a fun style of ball. And that's going to be the case when you have a younger team.
Sure.
They're going to have a different energy than guys in their mid to late 30s. And think about it in general, it doesn't matter what your job is. Sometimes the longer and especially when you're struggling. And I think that's what we've seen these last few years, right? When you had guys that were older and veterans and you're winning, all right, nobody cares. It doesn't look bad. Even if it's lower energy, even if it's kind of
workmanlike,
stoic, workmanlike, whatever. When you're winning, it's fine. But when you're losing, that's boring. Right? I mean, that can be an okay way to play, but when you're boring and not good, it's a bad combination. When you're boring and good, nobody cares. But when you're struggling to get to the next level and kind of do what the Cardinals are doing and provide the opportunity for all these younger players, well, you better be fun. And at least to this point, it's been fun. We'll see how much fun they're having when they start slumping. Right. When you get into a position where maybe the bats go quiet, for a good period of time. If you look at it now, you're like the 6th highest scoring team in baseball. So, yeah, when you're scoring, when there's offense, when there's a guy like Jordan Walker doing what he's doing, it's easier to have fun. When they struggle, I think it'll look a lot alike because, again, they're young players that are trying to establish themselves, and that energy is partly tied to their urgency.
And I don't think they were a boring team last year. I think they were a somewhat boring team the 2 years prior to that.
Boring last year.
Okay, so we would disagree on that because I thought at times they were a fun team last year. There were some moments the way they played, but what last year to this year is still, I mean, it's, if they were mildly fun last year, they're a lot of fun so far here in the first 2 weeks of the year. And again, to your point, a lot of that has to do with production. When you've got the league leader in home runs and Jordan Walker, well, that's going to be pretty darn cool. When you're scoring as many runs and when you're barreling the ball up, I keep going back to barrels.
Hey, they're 6th in baseball in home runs so far.
Yeah.
So again, last year you're near the bottom of the league. Home runs are fun. I don't care what anybody says. So this is why it'll be fun. It'll be a good test. How are you? What does it look like when you're not hitting? Because that's usually the energy, like that's the measuring stick for energy.
And you would think that's going to dry up a little bit because our big narrative going into the season is this
lack
team
of power,
doesn't have any power. So,
well, that was before we saw the new Jordan Walker.
Yeah, but one guy doesn't change it. Maybe
if he's that guy, it does, but he might not be. This is the thing. We're still waiting to see how long it lasts.
Even if he's a 30 home run guy, that doesn't mean you're a home run hitting team.
No, but it definitely changes you.
Yeah.
Because your top 4 then is really good.
Yeah, I like the top of the order.
Yeah.
I do. And I still think at some point in time, if Jimmy Crooks keeps doing what he's doing, they're going to have to take a long look at him. At some point,
I'm sure they will.
At some point, Joshua Baez could be on this team. If Nelson Velasquez gets going at AAA and looks the way he looked in spring, and he hasn't done that yet, there are potentially Lars Nootbaar. He's going to be back
at some point in late May, early June. Yeah.
So there are going to be ways that the lineup could even get a little bit deeper as we go along. And it's a really good start right now with what you have at the top of the order.
To me, that's what makes it even more fun when you're looking bigger picture, because the top 4 guys, top 5, but assuming Walker is maybe not this level, because this level would be a lot, but like well above average for the whole year. If he's that and Gorman is just even a league average-ish, the top 5's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's pretty weak after that right now. Even now, you are scoring and you are hitting home runs, but Mason Wynn hasn't hit yet. Pajes is not hitting. Nathan Church hasn't hit. Scott hasn't hit. So you still have half the lineup not hitting, and you're still having this, which, by the way, shows you how good like Walker has been in particular, because he's really balancing out the sheet. You know, he's got, 5 of their 13 home runs. So he's carrying that part of it for sure.
And this is what I always thought, again, going back to my time covering another team in the division and watching the Cardinals from the other side, when Arenado and Goldschmidt were really good, as the opposing team, it felt like they were coming up every inning. They weren't.
No.
But those 2 guys being in the middle of the order, you were planning for them. There was a lot going into every single inning. So if you've got 4 dudes at the top of the order that are all producing at a pretty high level, they're essentially coming up every other inning. Some of those guys are, and that's fine. You can have a desert at the bottom of the order and occasionally get something from that group.
That's right.
But you just every other inning, you've got a shot with those guys coming up, and that's going to win you a bunch of ball games.
Yeah. So what will happen as this season goes along is Walker will cool down. I mean, I don't see 1,000 OPS. And if that were to happen, story of the year in the National League.
And if that happens, it changes the trajectory of the
everything
team.
About your team. But I mean, it's not likely.
It's franchise altering too. It's not just about this year.
Because that's Albert Pujols' number.
Yes.
Right? 1,000 OPS is Albert Pujols' number. If he's that, holy crap. I don't think so. I think we should be more reasonable. Expect some slumps. Expect some streaks like this. And what we want is over 6 months for that to be an above average hitter who belongs in the cleanup spot.
Well, Kevin, here's the next thing that's going to happen, because he's changed his swing. He's changed his approach. He's changed a bunch of things. So guess what? There's a bunch of really smart people in Major League Baseball.
Yep. They're going to start doing differently.
Yes,
yeah, they're going to do things differently.
They're going to approach him in a different way. And the question is, can he react to the reaction? So that at some point in the next 2-3 weeks, I would suspect some version of that's going to happen. And we are going to learn so much about Jordan Walker when that starts to happen.
You know, we talked about him today with Ricky Horton on DGS, and Ricky was describing how he's just like so much calmer, so much happier now. Having success helps that, right? But he said even in spring that was true. when he was struggling in spring, right? He was not having success in the games. But I think a lot of things are true here. But I mean, it starts with what Ollie and Brant Brown said on the Gas House Gang last year. He needs to buy in, and he needs to put in the work. I mean, that's a paraphrase, but that was the message, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no other way to read that. And it got headlines for a reason, because it was a very blunt truth. And since that time, he has clearly bought in to whatever changes were necessary. He went to Driveline, put in some good work there, kept up with that work down in Jupiter, and even before spring training, but kept up with that work. And I don't think there's much question here that part of the feedback loop that's established is not just what you see in games. It's also what he's getting in the lab. It's also because you have things now you didn't have before that can show you, no, you're okay. I know it's not translating, but you're okay. You don't have to change. You don't have to do anything. I'm sure some of that confidence and comfort level comes from that. And then you start putting up numbers and you're like, all right, great.
And it had to translate at some point.
Yes.
That's why I think it was so important that he did get off to a good start, because then there is actual empirical evidence that what he is doing is
Builds your
actually
confidence.
working. So that's a good thing. But give him all the credit in the world as he has gone through this buy-in process. And I think it started with Driveline, where I think they broke down a lot and he had to build almost from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, it looks very much the same, but we know this. He's swinging at different pitches. He's swinging at better pitches, and that's a great thing. Nice to see him off to a great start. We got pitching stuff to talk about as well today, so hang tight. We're going to cover it all in this hour. Matt, Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on Redbird Rush Hour.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
All right, guys, if you're looking to sell your home this year and you haven't gotten the process started yet, don't start anywhere else. Call Gloria Liu. Look, in today's market, the agent that you choose matters more than it has in a really long time, and that gives you the choice of Gloria Liu as the right choice. Look, you've definitely heard of her. You've heard the spots here that Debbie and we talk about her for a reason, because we believe in what she does. So with Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, you're getting a system that works. And that's important, right? To have a process. We talk about this in sports all the time. Have a process that works. She does. She's got thousands of buyers in waiting. So there are people there looking to buy homes in the St. Louis area, and the buyer for your home might be there, but you won't know it unless you work with Gloria Liu. On top of that, you have the experience of 23 years in real estate. You have the real evidence. Like, she does sell more than everyone else. She sells a home about every other day, where the average agent might sell 4 or 5 homes a year. And you've got these 2 powerful written guarantees, right? You've got 2 choices. She will sell your home at a price and a time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy it herself. Another option would be Gloria's going to sell your home at 100% of the market value or pay you the difference. Those are guarantees, man, that are in writing. You combine that with the experience, the system, the database, you're not going to go wrong. So when you're ready to sell, call Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. As always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
Traffic from the MichaelsFloorandOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, highways are still fairly slow. This traffic reports the service of I-3 broadband. Westbound 370 approaching Earth City to the Discovery Bridge is busy. Westbound Highway 70, Riverview through Jennings Station, a couple of spots around the airport. from 5th Street out to Zumbel, and then A to Z out in Wentzville after that. Westbound 64 is still a solid jam approaching Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker. Slow from there all the way to Hanley, Lindbergh to Ballas, a little busy, Clarkson to Topgolf, and west of Winghaven out to Highway 70 now. Southbound 170, Ladue to 64, north 170, north of 64 up through Delmar is kind of slow, and then again Scudder through Airport. Southbound 270, south of 364, both ways between almost Olive and Manchester are busy, and the southbound stuff opens up as you get south of Manchester for the most part. Downtown 44 is backed up east of Grand, 64 west of Jefferson across the Poplar where those right lanes are the only ones open at the Illinois end. Westbound 44 between the bridges delays, eastbound 70 backed up on the Missouri side of the Musel Veterans over to 64 and 64 delays typical through 157. Southbound 55, Gasconade Bates, and then just a brief slowdown at Z. Spring is here. Time to toss out the dusty treadmill and your leggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Roger Brand at the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Hi, it's Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on KMOX. Feel free to chime in, by the way, if you're on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We obviously have the ability for you to throw us messages that way. Let's talk about pitching for a second, Matt. It's been all right. You know, some parts have been bad. Like the middle to back end of the bullpen has been pretty terrible. I shouldn't say the back end. The middle to the lower part of the bullpen. The very end with Romero and O'Brien has been fine.
So Bernie and I talked about this yesterday. Really, in games they've won, the bullpen's been pretty good. In games they've lost, the bullpen's been terrible.
And it seems to be kind of how it's set up going into the 6th and 7th. Yeah. Because when it's lined up for you to have, like, essentially Romero and O'Brien to finish the game, you're finishing the game. And then a few, like Stanek's had a couple good and a couple bad. A lot of the pen has kind of been that way. Although George Soriano's been good with his opportunities. It's not like it's been elite, but it's been pretty good. And Graceffo's had 2 good ones and 1 relatively shaky one. It's 12 games, obviously, with that context in mind. Are you at all concerned at how low the strikeout rate is for the team?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it, Michael McGreevy, not a shock. Again, none of these are shocking, but he's 5 per 9, basically, which is low.
He had the worst stuff plus of any pitcher yesterday in baseball.
But his command was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his command is overcoming some of that stuff issue right now and not getting a lot of swings and misses. But you look at the rotation, 5.4 strikeouts per 9, 5.6 for Liberatore, 4.5 for Leahy. 4.5 for Palante. Dustin May's good. It's 8.6, almost a strikeout, but he can't get anybody out.
Yeah, he's got a 15 ERA.
So, again, that just goes to prove the point that velo and strikeouts are not by themselves enough. But missing bats more will certainly be helpful. And there's nobody in the bullpen really doing it either. I mean, Riley O'Brien is pretty close to it at 8.6, but a reliever, typically closers are double digit. They're 10, 11, 12 per 9 strikeouts. But I don't care about that. Like, for him, that's fine. Like, if you're near 9, I'm okay with that. That's perfectly okay. But a lot of the others, Soriano throws 100. He's striking out 4.5 per 9 innings. Now, Stanek's getting strikeouts, but he's kind of in the Dustin May category where, okay, that's great, and you're throwing hard, but you're making too many mistakes. You're giving up too much loud contact. That a concern to you moving forward? Because I think it is, but I think it's one where there's still room for improvement with these particular players.
Yeah, so the way I view it is, like, I'm aware of it. Because if I believe in a certain group of, if I have a lack of belief in certain players and then they are performing in a way that is the reason that I don't have confidence in them, then I'm concerned early on in the season. When I think there's a bunch of guys who can do better and they're not doing better, I'm aware of it and I'm going to let it play out a little bit longer. I'm not going to freak out about it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. And some of those guys, like, I don't care about Andre Palante's strikeouts because that's not who he is.
No, that's what he is, right?
Right. So there's some of those guys that you listed.
But Liberatore was over 7 per 9 last year. And again, it's so early. That's why it's not a judgment. It's just more an observation of an early trend.
And he was a little bit better in his last start. He had the one inning where he struck out the side. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it felt like there was more swing and miss from Liberatore in his most recent start. So, the fact that Matt Swanson has had such a slow start to his season.
Yeah, because he was 10 per 9 last year. Yeah,
that plays into this as well. I think Libertor's numbers are going to go up in that area. I think Leahy's numbers are actually going to go up a little bit.
Hope so.
But we'll see.
He was over 8 per 9 as a reliever, but it's only 5.5, 4.5 as a starter.
Yeah, and he's not going to be what he was as a reliever because the velocity isn't going to be there when he's starting and not relieving. So you got to.
He's down 2 miles an hour on every pitch that he throws.
Yeah, and Michael McGreevy's down 2 miles per hour on,
which is weird.
It is. I don't know what's going on there
because he doesn't seem to be. We haven't heard anything about being hurt or anything like that.
No, and
could just be mechanical. But he's throwing strikes, so it's not like a massive concern.
I need to go look at his velocity early on in the season in the last couple of years.
Compared to see if he's a slow. The problem was a lot of his early starts last year were in Memphis.
But you can still look at the velo.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying we havenn't seen it, so maybe that's just him. Maybe in April because there are pitchers that build up and they don't really hit their full peak velocity until the weather warms up.
Yeah, so that might be it. So I guess you want like an answer from me. I'm not worried, but I'm certainly aware of it. Like I don't think it's nothing. I'm not trying to be dismissive of it either, if that makes sense.
No, that's the point. That's again at this time we shouldn't be drawing any conclusions. We just observe and then we kind of see. Okay, this is something you put a bookmark on it. We're going to keep tracking it as we go because I would think some of it's going to change, but we also know that like the turnaround that they're making. You look at how they're using player development, the way they're using the draft now, the types of players, the Tanner Franklin, Liam Doyle, those kind of guys. Richard Fitz is going to add to that when he's here, I would think. He gets some strikeouts, at least he did in the past. But there are ways where you can see that it's going to take time to make that transition.
Yeah.
So, you are trying to develop more power arms and more swing and miss, but you're not going to flip the switch and just do it overnight. Not without signing proven players.
Right. Real quick, McGreevy last year, March 28th was his first game at AAA, pitched against Louisville. Velocity was his sinker topped out at just under 94, and his four-seamer topped out at 95.5. So he did have
that's up compared to like right now he's 92 on high end, and he's averaging about 90.
Yeah, so that he did have velo for his first start of the year last year.
Yeah, that would have been gas in 1990.
It would have been.
It was a big deal. When I was in high school and college, if somebody threw 90, it was like, man, they're throwing gas. Now it's like, yeah, nice changeup.
It is. 90 doesn't mean anything.
No. I mean, it does, but not what it used to. Right. That's for sure. Matt, Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. More baseball, more pitching talk specifically coming up.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Redbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities, Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
At 5:30, partly sunny, 80 degrees downtown of the Arch. I'm Maria Kina in for Michael Calhoun. A tentative U.S.-Iran ceasefire is faltering as Israel pounds Beirut. Iran maintains its grip on the Strait of Hormuz, and truce talks remain uncertain. Both Tehran and Washington are claiming victory and exerting pressure on one another. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he had approved direct negotiations with Lebanon, which gave no immediate response. Israel strikes there were made today the deadliest in Lebanon history since this war has begun. Meanwhile, in a social media post, the president says, quote, there are reports that Iran is charging fees to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be, and if they are, they better stop now, unquote. He offered no further details. The White House supports Iran reopening the strait as part of a tenuous ceasefire that deal that the president opposes, and that the country's military is using its continued control over the waterway in order to raise revenue by charging tolls on passing ships. Mr. Trump has spent much of today in closed-door meetings. He does not have any scheduled public events for the rest of the day. And just coming in, a federal judge finds that the Pentagon is in violation of a court order to restore access to reporters. We'll have more on that story coming up at 6 o'clock from CBS. From this Aliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, overnight, some clouds, breezy conditions, a low of 61 degrees. For tomorrow, cloudy, scattered showers and storms with a high of 73. And then Friday night, it looks like clouds, scattered showers and storms, non-severe though, and a low of 53. Right now, it is 80 degrees in St. Peter's, 80 degrees in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch, it's 80 degrees. I'm Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
As parents, we measure our child's life in firsts. First steps, first words. But for me, the most important was my son's first breath. Because of Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, that moment led to so many more. His first laugh, first birthday, the first time he said, "I love you, Mama." Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund. Your gift helps build a place where more childhood firsts are possible.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Rock legend Billy Idol. Live in St. Louis. Billy Idol. It's a nice day to tour again. Billy Idol. Live at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, September 10th. Get tickets this Friday at noon at livenation.com. For more, visit billyidol.net.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In our March Madness tournament, we have for the last several weeks been searching for the best bar in the St. Louis area as voted by you. We had our championship matchup of McGurk's versus O.B. Clark's, and we would like to congratulate in what is one of the narrowest margins we could have imagined. Way to go, McGurk's.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a backup downtown. Eastbound 44 is on the brakes from Grand up through the 55 merge point. There's a stall in one of the center lanes before you get to park, so it's not helping that out at all. Eastbound 64 still jammed. Jefferson across the Poplar, of course, those left lanes closed through the weekend at the Illinois end of the bridge. Eastbound 70 backed up on the Musial Veterans Bridge over to 64. 64 from 157 midway to 159 is heavy. Westbound Highway 70. Slow stuff at the city limits. You've got slow traffic again from 94 out past Zumbel. Little busy K. Bryan Road area, but then it's opening up after that. Westbound 64 still backed up or bogged down from Kings Highway out to about McCausland, west of McKnight, all the way out through Spady and approaching 364 out to 70s heavy. Eastbound 64, a couple of slowdowns. Lindbergh through the Interbelt. The Interbelt has delays, stop and go style from about Ladue down to 64. South 270, south of Olive to Doherty Ferry's the slow part. Southbound 55 just a little busy at Bates after that. It opens up and it's looking pretty good. Westbound 370 past Earth City, or 141 rather, still a little congestion there. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. Before you packed your child off to college, did you get a power of attorney for them? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Back at it on KMOX is the Redbird Rush Hour. We're about to get into our weekly weigh-in. We're doing it a little bit late this week because we haven't had shows. It is brought to you by STL weight loss injections. And I would certainly encourage you, if you've been thinking about doing the GLP-1 thing, I just got started on it a couple months ago. I'm starting to see results, which is awesome. Everybody reacts to it a little bit differently. They told me kind of, the most aggressive things that might happen when I start on it and kind of the more conservative. For me personally, it has been a little bit more on the conservative side of things, but I have absolutely seen results. And it's nice when somebody will say to me, hey, looks like you lost a few pounds, something like that. I get that every once in a while when I walk into here at the station. My wife's been saying those things to me. So it's really nice because my weight is something that I have been struggling with. And it's for whatever reason, you eat healthy, you're you work out every day, and for some reason, some bodies just don't react the way you'd like them to react. And that's kind of been my story. So it's been really nice for me to know that I'm finally using something that's actually going to help me lose the weight that I've been trying to lose for a very, very long time. If this is something that you want to do, I would encourage you to check them out for yourself. Head to stlweightlossinjections.com, stlweightlossinjections.com. You can get in $199 for the first month. You can schedule an appointment online. The phone number's at the website as well. Make sure to check them out for yourself. If you've been thinking about doing a GLP-1, if you just want more information, the people at STL Weight Loss Injections are amazing, and they will be able to tell you everything that you need to know. So, Kevin, we do our weekly weigh-in brought to you by STL Weight Loss Injections. Again, $199 for the first month. And here's my weigh-in question for you. Got to weigh in on the idea of the roster and the things the Cardinals might need to do or might want to do as a Richard Fitz, who we're going to see pitch tonight for Memphis. But if he continues to pitch well, the assumption has always been that he's going to be your sixth starter when the off days start to dry up. But you also don't want an effective pitcher just sitting in Memphis. Hunter Dobbins has looked awesome so far. He's been on a major league rehab assignment.
Right. He's on rehab.
Right. So he's not actually there. So if you were to put him there, you'd have to option him there. Maybe you don't want to use the option, as the Cardinals at times have not gotten the consistency out of the bullpen. Do you create a situation where, yeah, you'd like to have these guys getting stretched out at Memphis, but if they can help you more at the big leagues in the bullpen, or you do something with some other guys, do you start to try to work those guys in?
I mean, you can, especially if you're looking at them as multi-inning guys. I think it also makes more sense. Like, you're not going to need it for the next couple of weeks. They have an off week every week to start the year. So that's not the time for a 6-man rotation. But I think it will start to be that. You get into the latter part of April and you get into the early part of May, and you're going to have a much longer stretch without days off. So that would be a good time to pop those guys in, whichever one's on turn or pitching the best at the time. But yeah, I wouldn't hold back. I mean, we've seen being in the bullpen, even for a short time, is not going to hamper you completely from being a starter.
Yeah.
You do probably want one guy staying stretched out, though. Because right now Quinn Matthews is not going well. He's just walking the house again. I mean, like, he's
Bryson
having a really
Mott's kind of the same
Bryson
thing.
Mott's kind of the same thing. So I would say you'd probably want at least one of them starting at Memphis, but it doesn't mean the other can't come up and maybe spot start here and there, but also work as a multi-inning guy. And look, maybe multi-inning is the 7th and 8th in a good close game if they're pitching well.
I've always been curious to see what it would look like. And with what I'm about to propose, I'm not even proposing, I'm just like throwing it out as what would this look like? If it goes poorly one time through, you put your bullpen in a really, really tough situation.
That's true. Yeah.
But what I'm about to say, I'd always be curious to see, because in the minor leagues, and this is done for development, not for competitive reasons, in the minor leagues, you'll see true piggyback situations where two guys who they want to lengthen out will be on the same day, and the starter will go 4 or 5, and the number 2 guy will go 4 or 5, and that covers your entire 9 innings. I'd always be curious to see, could that work at the major league level as a way to give the rest of your bullpen almost a guaranteed day off every time through the rotation? But again, if it goes bad, you are in trouble.
I think the key thing you hit on there is in the minor leagues, you don't care about wins and losses.
Yeah.
It's all about the player development, where here, the game is going to dictate that. If you go, let's say you're doing you're going to do a tandem start and whatever, let's say it's with Palante and he's going to go 5. And then you're like, oh yeah, and Fitz is going to go however many he can. Well, if you're up 6, great. If you're down 6, great. You're fine. But if you find yourself in a 1-run game, are you really going to do that? Are you really going to do that when you get to the 8th and the 9th inning when you have Romero and O'Brien available? I mean, I think that at the minor league level, it makes a lot more sense. I'm not saying never do it. Like the Dodgers have kind of had Robleski lined up to follow Roki Sasaki, and he didn't do it necessarily because Roki's been in the one game that they were worried about, he pitched okay. But like, it's not a no. It's just not, I don't think it's a regular thing.
Yeah. And I guess in that situation, if it is a save situation, I would be okay saying, well, the second guy is going to go 4. If it's a one-sided game, one direction or the other. If it's a save situation, maybe that guy's going to go 3 and you're going to go ahead and use your closer that day. I guess in my mind,
then you risk either not stretching that guy out or using him to the point where you're not going to get to use them again for a couple days and also using your other guys.
Yeah, but how often is it going to be a safe situation? And you could run into a thing where it just ends up being that way every time, but the majority of games in Major League Baseball don't end up being safe situations. You're only winning half the games anyway, so in half the games you're down, and the in that half left over, how many of them are actually safe situations?
Yeah, I'm a little torn on it because if I feel like I have a starter that I need to piggyback, then maybe he shouldn't be my starter.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out ways to like optimize the roster with the talent that you have. When I sit here and see two guys that you acquired in the offseason and Hunter Dobbins and Richard Fitz, and it's a good problem to have. Every team would love to have more starting pitching than they have room for. But when I combine that with the fact that the bullpen has been inconsistent, that's when I start getting the creative juices in my mind flowing a little bit, saying, how can you make this work?
Yeah. And I think that the one thing that's going to be really interesting is how long will it take to get those guys opportunities? Right? How long will it take before Fitz and Dobbins are showing you enough? I mean, Dobbins has made 2 starts. It's 10 innings with 10 strikeouts and a 3.48 ERA. And Fitz has made 2 starts, 10 innings, 8 strikeouts with a 1.74 ERA. That's against AAA. So I don't want to make it like, okay, these are, guys that are tearing it up. But at some point, you want to get something out of them at the major league level rather than just having them spend all that time there. Because I think both of them are at a point where we're not learning much about them at AAA.
No, and let's go back to last year. I think if you and I would have been running things last year.
Oh, yeah.
Michael
McGreevy would have been here a lot earlier.
Yeah. And I think we can look back at last year and lament the fact that McGreevy was not brought up earlier. And there's actually a scenario where that cost the Cardinals an opportunity to be a playoff team last year. They were not that far away from being in playoff position, and they're running Eric Fetty and Miles Michaelis out every 5th day. So I don't want this to be a year where we get done with it and we're playing the what could have been game with Dobbins and Fitz not getting opportunities.
Yeah. I'm less worried about the what could happen in the standings and more about, hey, look, we need to evaluate Dobbins and Fitz.
That's true, too.
I mean, we need to know what we have going into the offseason. And look, they both have stuff, especially Fitz, that plays at the pen. If that ends up being the future home, that's okay. Because you have a lot of young starters, and some of these guys are going to be busts, and some of them are going to be good. And I'm sure you're going to acquire some more, either at the deadline or by signing a free agent here or there at some point in the not-too-distant future. So it's okay if it ends up going that way. And as we've seen with Liberatore and Leahy, you can spend a year or 2 in the bullpen and then come back to the rotation.
Sure.
So to me, this year, I want to evaluate them against the best hitters in the world as much as I can. That'd be my number one goal.
I would agree.
And again, ideally starting, you want to have guys in case somebody goes down. But if it means in the pen, it's okay too. Yeah. All right. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Sports Open Line is coming up after the top of the hour. We'll get a tease on that and finish up our baseball talk next year on KMOX.
The spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week's flash sale, $50 per room of carpet clean for unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com to book your appointment. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
One of my favorite things each week is building community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game. Really cool as we get the opportunity to feature individuals who are making the community better through sports.
Solomon Alexander is the director of the St. Louis Sports Foundation. The foundation is the charitable arm of the St. Louis Sports Commission, and their mission is largely centered on fostering sportsmanship. Dubbed the sportsmanship guy, Alexander explains why sportsmanship is so important.
When you forget the scores of the game and you may forget who won what in which year, nobody forgets how people treat them. Your relationship with most people is based on how they treated you. And we think that's the first step in participation in sports, keeping kids involved in sports, and really helping everyone enjoy sports.
If that's the first step, the second is kids being empowered by sports.
When you get a kid that tries track and field for the first time, dozens of events within track, they try weightlifting for the first time. They do something that is kind of off the path for everyone else, but it's their path. Sports helps kids, I think, find their own way. even those that play like the more popular sports, you're still able to find your own way. You know what? I'm pretty good at this.
Learn more about the St. Louis Sports Foundation at stlsports.org. Building community with Busey Bank, beyond the game.
Experience the power and passion of Mahler's Fifth Symphony with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Music director Stefan Denev leads this monumental work, paired with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra's first performances of Carlos Simon's Double Concerto Suite, featuring Grammy-winning violinist Hilary Hahn and cellist Seth Parker Woods. April 10th, 11th, and 12th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, things are getting better, but of course, downtown we still have delays due to the road work eastbound at the 09 to the Poplar. Only the right lanes are open, the left lanes are closed. 44, not a solid jam, but Grand to Jefferson, it's slow, and then 55 up to the bridge, it's bogged down after that due to an earlier stall. Eastbound 64 just east of Jefferson is jammed getting onto the bridge, and eastbound 70 east of the Musial Veterans over to 64. We have an incident reported in the middle of that. It's a pretty solid jam as well. Eastbound 64, past that point, you've got slow traffic, 157 about midway to 159. Westbound 70, a little slow at Jennings Station, still bogged down, 94 down the hill to Zumbel, but after that, you're home free. Westbound 64 from the Science Center out to Clayton Skinker, you have heavy traffic, a little slow at Topgolf, and then pretty busy from 364 all the way out to 70. Eastbound 64, east of Clarkson to Timberlake, east of Lindbergh through to Big Bend. There's heavy traffic there. Southbound 55 is cleared out, and South 270 is back on the go as well. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, a few minutes left. Matt, Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Let's talk catching.
That's your favorite thing to talk about.
I love talking catching. This isn't going to be the nerdy part of it, though. So even though I don't think it's going to work long-term with Herrera back there, you know that I'm okay with doing it in this kind of a year. It's like, it's fine. Just as long as he's not getting hurt, it's totally fine. Work with it. See if it's one of those things you can do a game or two a week. Totally cool. Fine.
And he's been fine lately.
He's all right. I mean, he can't throw, but, you know, it hasn't mattered yet.
Yeah.
It hasn't cost them big yet, so that's until it does. And again, even this year, I'm not going to lose my mind about it. I just my opinion on him is just an observation. It's not that I don't want him to try it. It's more that I look at what he does and I just don't think it's going to work. Because I also know that Jimmy Crooks can do it, and I know that Leo Bernal can do it, and I know that Rainiel Rodriguez is going to be in this picture before you know it. How long does it take before Crooks will get real run in the big leagues? Because it's not going to be now, because I would guess, because he's off to a great start at Memphis, I'm going to guess they want him to cool off and then see how he bounces back, because he's off to this great start. I think they probably want to see that a little bit and maybe see where he is in a month. So is a month a reasonable time, or you think it takes longer than that for them to go, boy, you know what, we could use a different look in here?
You know, I'm never going to lie to you, Kevin. I'm never going to lie to our listeners. It's just not, when I don't know something, I am very willing to say I don't know. And I know what I want, but I don't know what they're going to do here.
Yeah.
And I almost said I don't know what they're doing, and that sounds like a criticism.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant. But I literally, it's not me being critical of them. I just don't really know what the plan is, because like I've talked about so often, you've got a finite time where you can really find out some things about Jimmy Crooks at the major league level with all those other guys coming in behind him. And I would get him up as soon as you possibly could, but that they also sent him down in spring training. He was one of the first dudes reassigned to minor league camp. And I was surprised, and I knew that they were having a hard time finding innings, but I didn't think finding innings for him in spring training mattered. I would have rather seen him get more time in the big league games. So I want to see him get some run. This is not a shot at anybody else, but I just think if you're going to tell us that you got to make decisions about the future, well, learning about Jimmy Crooks is a key part of the future.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my side. It's kind of how I feel about Fitz and Dobbins. You've got to find out something this year. I think we know, like, look, Pedro Pajes is 27. He's a good defensive catcher, but he clearly isn't perfect. Like, he's a bad blocker. And that was true last year too. And so far this year, the framing hasn't been good, but it's too early. You can't determine that in what 9 games played or whatever it's been. Like, that's not That's not a fair way to evaluate it. He was better at it last year. In fact, very good at it last year. So, but I think, he's 27. It's his third major league season. He's not your long-term starting catcher because he's also not much of a hitter. That's where you want to see, okay, Crooks needs to get Crooks and or Bernal, one of the two, preferably Crooks now because he's a year further advanced than Bernal in terms of player development. Get some run at an extended run of playing 4 or 5 games a week. I want to know going into the offseason if I think he can be my catcher, part of the, catching tandem, whatever. I want to know. I don't want to go into the offseason without knowing. This is not in any way expressing doubt. I'm just saying this is what I think we all want to see, and I'm guessing they do too.
I would hope so because, he's really good.
He's done everything in the minors you can ask of a player to do. He's always hit at least reasonably well, usually better than average. He's a great thrower. His reputation is that he's a gamer and he's a worker and he's a pregame planning guy and all that stuff. The only way to find out here is to let it happen, and that is a guy who could be a long-term part of the picture for you.
Yeah, and it becomes more pronounced as we see Pedro Paez struggle, really both from an offensive standpoint and also from a defensive standpoint. He's let some balls get by him this year. I don't think this has been his best defensive season. Yeah,
again, so far it's not been good. His blocking was bad last year, so that's not new. He's not a good blocker. I just don't think he moves very well. But he throws well and he calls a good game. He does two things very well.
And pitchers trust him.
And the pitchers like him. And that's a big part of this equation. But the only way they're going to trust Crooks, though, is if he gets those opportunities. They didn't trust Paez until he got the opportunity to go work with them on a day-to-day basis. So that trust has to be built through playing. And I think that will happen. It shouldn't be now. I wouldn't say now, even though I'd love it. But I would say in a month, if this doesn't change, maybe it's time for a look.
And if he doesn't slow down, you need to get it sooner than later.
If he doesn't slow down, that bottom 4 in the lineup would look a lot better with a lefty who's doing a little bit hitting. All right, Sports Open Line is next. That's with my buddy Matt Pauley here on KMOX.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Spring is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma. And I'm Tom Gamma. When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the third generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the busiest stretch of highways we still have out there is basically downtown. It is getting better, but eastbound 64 is still backed up from about Union Station east of Jefferson up onto the bridge. Eastbound 44, not a jam, but it's slow from 55 up to the bridge. And again, the left lanes are closed at the Illinois end of the bridge eastbound, and that, again, has been around the clock for the last couple of days. Will continue into the weekend. Eastbound 70, that's still heavy. East of the Musial Veterans Bridge over to 64. Eastbound 64, still a bit of a slowdown, 157, but it doesn't even go midway up the hill to 159 before you're back on track. Looks like a train crossing at Granite City Steel. Short backups, jams actually both ways on 203 right now. Southbound 170 just south of the Parkway down to 64 is heavy. Eastbound 64 McKnight to Big Bend slow. Westbound 64 Hampton to Clayton Skinker just a little heavy. And then Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. There's also an incident eastbound 64 before Timberlake. Delays near Clarkson as well. I'm Roger Brand in the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. First Lady Melania Trump speaks out about the Jeffrey Epstein case. CBS's Ed O'Keefe at the White House says it was unexpected.
She comes out and just immediately launches into this denunciation of rumors about any associations with Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone went, where on earth did this come from? There doesn't appear, so far at least, to have been any kind of report coming or book in the works or some other documentary that would try to connect dots. There appears to be only just one email between Melania Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell several years ago in the Epstein files.
The First Lady is calling on Congress to hold a public hearing with Epstein survivors. What began as a search and rescue operation in the Bahamas is now a criminal investigation. Brian Hooker is under arrest for the disappearance of his wife, Lynette, while the Michigan couple was sailing last Sunday in rough waters. CBS's Christian Benavides has spoken with Lynette Hooker's daughter.
Does it add up?
No. Why isn't she coming back to be on it with him? Like, why didn't he stop and put the anchor out and look for her?
She doesn't believe Brian's story.
Brian Hooker denies any wrongdoing. The ceasefire between the U.S., Iran, and Israel is hanging on, but apparently just by a thread, as Israel strikes Hezbollah targets in Lebanon and oil only trickles through the Strait of Hormuz, which President Trump posts on social media is not the agreement with Iran. CBS's Natalie Brand says here in the U.S.,
oil prices went back up Thursday, impacting small business owners like Tony Stafford.
Our biggest competitor now is the gas pump, And, every dollar that a person has to spend additionally at the gas pump is a dollar less in the communities that they support, the restaurants.
Experts say it could still be weeks before gas prices start to significantly fall.
U.S.-Iran peace talks are set for this weekend in Pakistan. CBS's Michael Wallace reports the U.S. Postal Service is suspending contributions to a federal pension plan.
The agency announced it will temporarily stop making $200 million payments every other week for its employer contributions to the federal employees' retirement system. The Postal Service's chief financial officer says there will be no immediate impact to its current or future retirees. The suspension of those payments should save the cash-strapped agency about $2.5 billion this fiscal year.
With high confidence in all systems needed for re-entry tomorrow night, the Orion spacecraft is set to splash down off California. NASA's Amit Kshatriya.
Tomorrow evening, Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, the crew of Artemis 2, will come home. They will have traveled 400,000 miles. They will have seen what no living person has seen.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings. Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
At 6:04, we have partly sunny skies and 79 degrees downtown of the Arch. I'm Maria Aquino. Our top story, the city of St. Louis has had enough with their budget fight against the Board of Police Commissioners.
Mayor Kara Spencer has announced a lawsuit against the state of Missouri and the Board of Police Commissioners seeking to retake control of the department amidst their budget fight. Mayor Spencer says she tried to work with the board, but the budget impasse has forced her hand to finally file a lawsuit she has previously rejected.
There are other things such as the impasse that has clearly taken place. I mean, look, it was my intention, to make this work.
Spencer says their lawsuit is seeking one of two outcomes.
We're seeking to overturn that House bill that established a new Board of Police Commissioners to oversee the St. Louis Police Department. There are other remedies contemplated in the lawsuit as well, such as some clarity here. We are seeking that as far as the budget is concerned.
Commissioner Sonia Jenkins Gray says they were completely caught off guard by the lawsuit.
We thought that we were still in negotiations and that we would reach some resolution. So yes, it did catch us off guard.
Despite Mayor Spencer saying budget negotiations reaching an impasse, Board President Chris Saraceno says they are ready to resume talks.
We again stand ready and willing at all times to continue productive dialogue with the mayor and her team to continue these important budget talks.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A tough combination. The St. Louis County Jail is dealing with a shortage of officers while the facility is near capacity. Acting Director Joe Coleman tells KMOX this has resulted in less recreational time for the detainees and a greater strain on the jail's overall operations.
Also, it affects my staff. They're somewhat overworked. We're filling a lot of positions. Also, we have to shut down the jail to do things like court sometimes because we have to get the people that are needed for court.
Coleman adds she is working with the county executive and council on finding ways for COs, but says the budget crunch is making that a big challenge. This could be the next drug in the pipeline for weight loss.
GLP-3s are currently in clinical trials.
It's a GLP-1, GIP, plus glucagon receptor agonist at the same time, which looks like it's giving even better weight loss than the other drugs that we've evaluated so far.
Dr. Samuel Klein is the director of the Center for Human Nutrition at Washington University School of Medicine. He's studying muscle loss and GLP-1s.
And that's just the nature of any kind of weight loss. When you eat less calories than you burn up. The question is whether that reduction in muscle mass is harmful or not harmful. And there's no data that the reduction in muscle mass and lean body mass translates into decreased physical function or physical performance. So it looks like it's not harmful.
Dr. Klein wants to specifically test high-risk people.
That would be typically women with obesity who have low muscle mass to begin with and might have decreased physical function to begin with. Would it make their physical performance even worse? We don't really know that.
For more on his clinical trial, go to nutrition research at woostel.edu. Fred Bodimer, KMOX News.
And at 6:07, let's head to the KMOX Traffic Center and get the latest from Roger Brandt.
Well, things are looking a lot better out there, Maria. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies, although we do have a stall in the left lane eastbound 64 just before Timberlake. It's a solid jam at Clarkson until you get past it. After that, it's slow 170 through Hanley, south 170, busy Brentwood to 64, eastbound 64 downtown. You still got a backup just east of Union Station onto the bridge, 44 midway between Park and the Poplar. The right lane's jammed getting onto the bridge. Eastbound 70, Packers Avenue over to 64, slow. 64 eastbound, still slow midway up the hill from 157 to 159. And we have an incident on the ramp from westbound 5570 to northbound 255. That ramp is currently jammed. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
We are getting into an unsettled weather pattern over the next several days, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's not a severe weather setup. That could be changing next week. But overnight tonight, let's call increasing clouds the story. It's breezy. It's mild. 61 for the overnight low. Quite mild for any evening plans. Friday, clouds dominate. Scattered showers. Maybe one or two non-severe thunderstorms, 73, scattered the key word. Friday night, clouds, scattered showers, and non-severe thunderstorms, 53. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, still looking like only spotty showers or a rumble of thunder. A lot of dry time Saturday, 76. Mainly cloudy Saturday night and dry, 62. On Sunday, mostly cloudy. Again, just spotty showers, spotty thunder showers around 79 degrees. So there will be a lot of dry time over the weekend. Increasing showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The best chance for severe weather next week will be Tuesday night and into Wednesday. I'll keep you up to date. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now, St. Peter's still holding on to 80 degrees at 79 in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch at 79 degrees. I'm Maria Aquina, in for Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Hey, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX, our final Sports Open Line of the week, because tomorrow night we will have Cardinals baseball. We'll be getting on the air right around this time, a little bit after this, as 7:15 tomorrow night, the first pitch as the Cardinals welcome in the Boston Red Sox, and they open up a 6-game homestand. We've got a very busy couple hours of the program coming up tonight. We'll talk a lot of Cardinals baseball, but we'll certainly get into a few other things as well. We'll talk a little Blues hockey. We'll talk a little SLU basketball. And we'll talk some City SC soccer as well. So here's what's coming up on the show tonight. Our first guest is going to be coming up in just a little while at about 6:35 when Gino Savarese is going to join us, Apple TV broadcaster covering MLS. He is going to talk City SC with us. Next hour, we're going to talk with KMOX golf reporter Dan Reardon from Augusta. He is covering the Masters. I'll confirm this when we get him on the phone. I believe that this is his 39th Masters that he is covering for KMOX, which is, I heard him talking about this on the Gas House Gang a couple days ago. He takes a ton of pride in the fact that he is probably the only radio reporter in the country that has covered that many Masters. There's one other guy, he said, in Arkansas, I think it was, who's covered a bunch, but really cool. It's one of the great resources that we have here at KMOX, somebody like Dan Reardon, who you can bring up just about anything in golf. And there's a pretty good chance he was there for it. And certainly he remembers it as well. So love being able to talk with him, and we'll get his thoughts on the Masters here in the early going. And then it is Thursday, which means we do our building community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game. We're going to talk today with the director of the St. Louis Sports Foundation, Solomon Alexander. Really cool conversation with him. They do amazing things. That's the charitable arm of the St. Louis Sports Commission, and I'm a big fan of everybody over at the St. Louis Sports Commission and what they do for our community and bringing in big events. But they also have this charitable arm, and the charitable arm is largely centered on sportsmanship. They have this belief that everything starts with sportsmanship and just the ability to experience sports and just the way things are supposed to go in the sports world comes back to sportsmanship. And Solomon Alexander, we're going to play back the interview that I had with him. It's really, really good. And I hope that you're able to enjoy that. We'll do that at about 7:20 or so this evening. We'll give you an opportunity to chime in as always. If you do want to get involved in the program, best way to do so is to call or text at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900, especially this next segment coming up. We'll have an opportunity to open up the phone lines a little bit in the text line and the tweets and everything if you want to get in here and talk all things Cardinals baseball. I'm curious to hear from you. It's 2 weeks, right? Like the disclaimer that we don't need to give. It's 2 weeks. It is still a very small percentage of the season getting started. But has it been good enough to pique your interest yet to a point where maybe you're having conversations about going to a game this weekend? And not somebody who had tickets for this weekend, but have they done enough for you to say, okay, I'm going to go support this team. I want to see them live. I don't think I would bet, and I wish this wasn't true, and I'd love to be wrong on this. I would bet that as good of a start to the season as it has been, I'm doubtful that any type of like large percentage of people have gone from the I'm not attending games to I'm attending games just based off 2 weeks of baseball. But I do think this is a group of players who are playing hard, who do want to win, and who absolutely deserve to be supported. And I hope that there's a little bit of a buzz at the ball. I don't think it's going to be like sold out crowds or anything like that, but I get the sense that there's going to be a few more people. It helps that the Boston Red Sox are coming to town. That's a team that only comes into St. Louis every other year. It's a chance to see Wilson Contreras. You're not going to see Sonny Gray. He's not going to be pitching in this series. He pitched yesterday, so he's not going to be available, but I'll be curious to see what the crowds are like over the next few days. And if you're on the fence right now, let me be the person to try to push you over and encourage you to check that out, because it's always a lot more fun. And it's that opening day comeback that the Cardinals had. I don't know if that's a comeback if the energy in the ballpark isn't what it is. And we know that can impact the team in many ways. So you'd love for it to start to come back a little bit here organically as the season does get going. We'll talk more about the Cardinals coming up in just a moment, like I mentioned, and the good things, what's real, what's not real. I think that's the question that a lot of people have. And that's what we're going to touch on coming up in our next segment. And if you want to text in or tweet in, this would maybe be the other question and I'd be interested to see this as well, of the stuff that's happened so far, especially from a positive standpoint. And we can do it from a negative standpoint as well, with like where the relief pitching is, the overall, even though relief pitching was pretty good over the last couple days, the overall numbers for guys coming out of the bullpen has not been great. So we don't need to be just positive. We can look at the positive things and the negative things at this point. What have you seen that you think is real? And what have you seen that you don't think is sustainable? So Jordan Walker, is what he's doing or some version of it, is that sustainable? Yes or no? The bullpen having a +5 ERA, do you think that's going to be something that exists throughout the year? Or do you think it's going to get better? I'll give you my thoughts on that, and we'll get into a few other things as well. That's all coming up on the program. Don't go anywhere. You are locked in to a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Are you somebody that you're sometimes getting frustrated with the internet speeds at your home? I get it. I used to be that way. I'm not anymore, because in the Pauley household, we use i3 broadband, and I could not endorse i3 broadband any stronger than I am right now. I was a customer. I had i3 as my service way before I was ever talking about them on the radio. And it's kind of weird to be like super excited about essentially a utility that you need in your home. Basically, all of us need internet. We live in a world right now where you need internet. So you need power, you need water, you need gas, you need all this stuff. You need internet as well. And unfortunately, a lot of providers of internet, not so great. Just those micro dropouts that you have no reason, like, why is my internet out? And is it actually out, or is it going to be back in 2 minutes? And you're just sitting there waiting. Maybe it just is bogged down at times that you really need it to be moving along. Don't have to worry about any of that with i3 broadband. They've got great speeds. You can get 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gig packages. They always mirror their upload and download speed. A lot of service providers don't do that. They won't tell you, but a lot of service providers will not tell you that they're not mirroring their upload and download speed. i3 always has you covered. Find out for yourself if they're available in your neighborhood. Head online, i3broadband.com/radio. That's i3broadband.com/radio.
Here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Laderman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Laderman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Laderman Law Firm at ladermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. The Biz-5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis, an office party like no other. Create your company team today at stlbiz-.com. It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m. Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Back at it on KMOX. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Thanks so much for spending a portion of your evening with us. We are taking you all the way until 8 o'clock tonight, as we've got a lot to get to between now and then. And then 8 o'clock, we'll have our Gas House Gang replay from our noon show. If you miss it at 12 noon, you can always catch it again during the 8 o'clock hour on nights that we don't have live sports for you. If you want to give us a call or text, you can do so, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at us at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, or you can just leave a comment on the video chat for those of you who are watching the show on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Got a question from the 630 saying who I think will be the first Cardinals player to get an extension. I think the easy one here is JJ Weatherholt because of the direction that the industry is going when it comes to this. Right now, the industry is very much looking to give these young players who are going to be core members of your team, you give them more money up front. You give them, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars right now. You give them, instead of them making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they get to go make millions of dollars early on in their contract. They're going to make millions of dollars, but millions less than they would have made had they gone to conventional free agency. And you lock them in and you allow them to really be that core moving forward. And that's why we're seeing all these guys get these type of deals. And then John Heyman had reported on it as well. And I don't know how, these MLB insiders, sometimes they get stuff right. Sometimes they don't get stuff right. So I always take those reports with a grain of salt. I've asked general managers and president of baseball operations, both on the record and off the record, like when this stuff comes out, how often is it right? And I hear from them. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes there's a kernel of truth. And then sometimes they read these reports and they have no clue where some of these things are coming from. And when I hear like a president of baseball operations say that in a situation where there's no reason, like we're not talking about in like a specific report, but just in general, anytime I read something, I always just, you say, okay, it's these guys are good. But sometimes there is an agenda that goes along with it. we know with some of these insiders, like some of them are known for being super connected to agents, and agents will give them bits of information, but it's a transactional relationship. And there's going to be times where an agent probably wants one of these guys to plant something for some reason. Same thing. Some of these insiders are known for having good relationships with owners. So you read their stuff and you go, okay, is this totally legit, or is this something that maybe an owner once planted? And that's the way things are. That's kind of the business. A lot of things in our business, unfortunately, is very transactional, and you just have to do you have to remember that certainly on occasion. I get my question that I threw out to you. And again, feel free to give us a call at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900, or tweet at me. You can also text in at that same number, or tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. From what you've seen so far, what do you think is sustainable and what's not? Because I love what we're seeing from Jordan Walker. And I think him being good this year is sustainable. I don't think him being a plus 1,000 OPS guy is sustainable. That's the thing that does not seem likely. And then it becomes, how much does he fall off? And I was talking about this with Kevin earlier on the show. He, at some point, the league's going to adjust to him. I think that's going to happen fairly soon. He is going to have to adjust back, and watching him adjust to the adjustments is probably the next step. And then that's going to happen for the rest of his career. That is a constant thing in baseball. There's always adjustments and adjustments to the adjustments and adjustments to the adjustments to the adjustments, and so on and so forth. But that's going to be one of the next steps for Jordan Walker. He's got something going right now. When all of a sudden he starts getting attacked in a different way, we'll see what it looks like. I hope he's able to adjust to it. That'd be really, really good. But I can't make a prediction if that's going to happen or not. I don't think the elevated bullpen ERA is going to be what it is. This organization in recent history has a really, really good track record of getting the most out of their bullpen. And even if you remember last year at this exact same time of the season, the bullpen had a +5 ERA, and they were down by the time the season ended. They were like at 3.7, something like that. It was really good. It was a strength of the team, even after the trade deadline, where they moved on from a lot of their top relievers. It was still a strength of the team. So I understand why a lot of people have been really upset about the relief pitching here in the early part of the season, even though they pitched quite well over the last 2 days. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt right now, just based off what I've seen. If they weren't hitting home runs right now, and somebody were to ask me, are you worried about the lack of power? Yeah, because they came in as a team that you didn't think was going to have very much power. And that's probably something that's under the category of not totally sustainable, because right now they are hitting a whole bunch of home runs, and that's probably not something that's going to continue on through the season. But I liked this bullpen coming in, and I still think it's a bullpen group that can have some success. Let's grab Kevin, who has given us a call. Kevin, you are on Sports Open Line.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm going to respond to your real and not real question. And what I think is real is Riley O'Brien's stuff is nasty. Mm-hmm. That is real. He should concentrate on not hitting corners, but throwing the ball down the middle and letting it run inside and outside. He is just nasty. That's real stuff. I'm really excited about him. What's not real, and this is a little bit different twist, J.G. Weatherholt's got a good on-base percentage because he's walked a number of times already. But I don't have the number exactly right. He's hitting around 240. I don't think that's real. I think he's going to be closer to 270 by year end and not 240, and with a good on-base percentage. Those are my comments.
All right, Kevin, good phone call. Certainly appreciate that. We can still get some more of those at 314-436-7900. I think he's right on. I don't disagree with anything he said. Weatherholt's going to hit. He is absolutely going to be a very good hitter in Major League Baseball. It's been a slow start for him from a batting average standpoint. But first off, evaluating guys just on batting average is part of the equation. It's not the entire equation. That's an important thing to remember. And you can have a batting average that's not impressive and be doing some other things and still be a really good player that's helping your team win and you're making plays that helps the team win. So you look at J.J. Weatherholt, a 244 batting average, but he's got a 364 on base. It's because he's drawing walks. He has drawn 8 walks over his first 45 at bats this season. He's a top of the order guy who you want to get on base. And if he can go through, I wouldn't say a rough patch, but if he goes through a time where it's not coming to him in terms of getting hits, but he's still finding a way to get on base, well, then that's fine because he's going to hit. He's got the hit tool. I would be beyond shocked if J.J. Weatherholt is not just a really high-end hitter in Major League Baseball over a very long career. There's no such thing as a sure thing, but there are things that are close to a sure thing, and J.J. Weatherholt is very close to that. Has to do it. It's not easy, and big league pitchers are really smart, and teams, when they game plan against you, are really smart. And the more he's out there, the more just the same stuff I was talking about with Jordan Walker a few moments ago, that, he's going to get going and then there's going to be adjustments and he's going to have to adjust to the adjustment. Like, all that is true, but Weatherholt's going to be fine. And the fact that even right now where he's not getting a ton of hits, he's still getting on base, that the positive of him finding a way to get on base when he's not hitting so far outweighs the fact that he's not hitting. Like, you don't even have to worry about the other part of that. We are going to pause from our Cardinals talk for a little while, and we'll talk a little City SC soccer as they are set to be back at this weekend. We will we'll look ahead to what's going to be another opportunity for them to continue to move forward. I think not an overly positive result, but a somewhat positive result for them the last time out, as they were able to fight their way back, and eventually they played to a 1-1 tie against New York City FC, and now they are going to have a matchup on the road, and that's going to be coming up on Saturday when they take on FC Dallas. Coming up in just a few moments, we are going to once again be joined by Gino Savarese. He's going to join us in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Nicholas.
This is going to be a likable team. I don't know how many games they're going to win. You're down 7-1, and at that point, they weren't deflated. They weren't demoralized. They're like, all right, good for you guys. You hit us in the mouth. You drew blood. We just tasted our own blood. Now we're going to knock you on your ass. Let's go.
Bernie Nicholas. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, Follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials at Project Inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Redbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities, Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
Is life insurance on your list of New Year's resolutions? Now is the perfect time to add it. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40 and her $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Back at it. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today. We take you all the way until 8 o'clock this evening. We're trying to touch on just about everything before all is said and done. We've talked some Cardinals baseball. We'll talk some Blues hockey later on this hour, some SLU basketball next hour as well. Right now, let's get to City SC. They are coming off a 1-1 tie against New York City FC, their last time out. They're going to get back at it coming up on Saturday against FC Dallas, and we're happy to welcome back onto the program Gio Savarese. He was on the call this past weekend. He's going to be back on the call this upcoming weekend for Apple TV and their presentation of MLS soccer. Gio, welcome back onto KMOX. How are you?
It's always a pleasure. Thank you again for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what did you see last week? Because that was a game where they were able to fight back and at least draw the tie, which is better than a loss. What did you think from what you saw last week from City?
I think, first of all, I believe in what I see is that the team gets better and better game by game. It seems that players are starting to get more comfortable. They understand a little bit more the balance of defending and attacking. I saw that the first half there were a lot of positives, and also things to build up and make it better. But I saw a cohesive group that tried to work together to make it more difficult to defend, even though with some moments that New York City was able to get in behind the defense. I thought that overall the team defended well. I think the second half is always difficult when you come back from the locker room and you get a score against. It's difficult. I found they struggle a little bit after the goal. But I think always when you come back and you get strong and you rebound from moments like that is a very positive thing. And I think they did that, especially when the substitutions came in. I thought that some of the adjustments that Coach Johan Damet made in the game were smart, and I believe that gave them the possibility to be able to tie the game. But also, they play against a very good team. New York City, I think this year is one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, the way that they tied that game late with it coming in stoppage time. I mean, you take momentum out of that. What can that do for a team moving forward?
It feels like a win. It's those kind of games in which, when you tie away from home and a difficult game against a difficult team. It feels like a win. It feels like a point that is going to give you something important in the future. But now the most important thing is what is going to come after that. How the team is going to react to the positive moment. And now they're going to play against a difficult team like Dallas. I think the schedule that they had for this beginning part of the season was tough because they're playing very difficult teams. In Dallas this year, they have a very good roster. They've been very good in the way they play. They're coming from beating DC 4-0 away from home. So this one is going to be a tough one, and hopefully from the last moment, the positive moment that they had against New York City, hopefully they can build up something important to compete in this game against Dallas.
Yeah, as you do look ahead to this matchup, as you take that momentum and you try to, let it go right from the start, what should City fans be hoping to see from their team taking away from this past week?
The most important thing at the beginning, I believe, is to match up the intensity that Dallas is going to bring from the beginning. I think one thing that we have noticed about this team this year is that Dallas is able to start the match, pressuring high, making it difficult, transitioning quick to attack. They have three big defenders that sustain the defense with hard work and they participate in the intensity that they put at the beginning of the game. So I think the most important part is to match up that intensity. There's going to be, I'm sure, things between the two coaches that see on the other team as weakness that they're going to try to explode and take advantage of. But one of the things that they need to be careful is the attacking players are very, very good. For me, Peter Musa is one of the best center forward in this league. And I think this is a game in which you have to be very smart the way you're going to be able to mark their attack. Because I do think their roster this year is a very strong roster.
I asked you about the impact of the team on the way they won, but specifically for somebody like Brendan McSorley, who does what he did. What can that do for an individual player having that experience of that kind of goal and taking that forward?
When you score and you tie a game, an important game, as I said before, it feels like a win. It builds you up, especially when you come from the bench and you're able to participate, score a goal. But I think we have seen so far with Brendan McSorley that he's a player that always wants to be impactful. He's a player that when he has the opportunity, he tries to use it the best possible way. And he's competing with the other players, which is what you want to see from your players. You want that everybody works together, but also you want that each position is competed by the other one that wants to be a starter. So I believe that Johan has created that within the team, and seeing McSorley being able to come in and score that goal and compete the way he's doing, I think it's a good sign. It's very important for the team.
Last thing for you, and we talked about him a little bit when we last had you on, but Edward Leuven, he is going to be returning onto the field Friday, playing for City 2 in an MLS Next Pro game. That's another step forward, and it goes without saying just what he has gone through from a personal standpoint, but there is the soccer standpoint as well. How important is it for City that it does seem like Leuven's getting closer and closer, and we should see him playing in games sooner than later?
As I mentioned before, the most important thing is his situation, his family, his mentality, helping him to heal of something that is very difficult to manage, mentally. So definitely that should be always the priority. If he's able to come back and start playing and being available for you as a player to participate already with a mindset that is prepared, that he feels good to be able to play, he's one of the best players in the league. For me, he's a quality player. He's a different maker. He has, I think, a complete group of things that can bring to the team, from defending to attacking, from free kicks to just being a smart player on the field, making the right decisions. And I think having him as an option definitely will improve this team, not only because of what he can do on the field, but having someone that understands the game the way he does around everybody else, I think is a positive thing.
Gio Savarese from Apple TV, and Gio, always want to promote the Apple TV product covering MLS. And this year, again, the double paywall is gone. So for folks that have an Apple TV subscription, they get every single MLS game all season long. And you guys do such a great job in how you present the game. Always hoping that more and more people are able to check it out for themselves.
I appreciate for that, and we invite everybody to be able to watch this match on Apple TV. As you mentioned, now it's a lot easier to be able to watch the games, and we are looking forward to be able to commentate in this game, which I think is going to be a phenomenal match.
He is Gio Savarese. Gio, thank you so much for taking the time, and we will talk again down the line.
Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, very good. Again, City SC, they are in action coming up this weekend on Saturday. They're going to take on FC Dallas. That's going to be on the road. They are next going to play a home game. They've got a U.S. Open Cup game against FC Tulsa, and that's going to be, and they're not an MLS team, they're a USL team. That's going to be coming up a week from yesterday. Next Wednesday is when that's going to take place. So that's the next time you could check out City SC for yourself. In addition to being able to see the games on Apple TV, we always invite you to listen to them on our sister station, Y98, the home of City SC. We will take another break. When we come back, we'll talk some Blues hockey. They are back at it this evening. They're going to get started here in a little bit more than 15 minutes. Not looking great in terms of them completing that climb to get into the playoffs this year. There was just a little bit of hope that was sitting out there over the last week and a half, but that seems to be going away. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. You are locked into a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone, call them, say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th. And you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to KMOX.com/events.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at supplement superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap up hour number one of the program. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. And hour number two, we're going to talk Masters with Dan Reardon, our KMOX golf expert, reporter, editor. He has a technical title. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but he's awesome. So we're going to talk with Dan coming up just after the 7 o'clock hour. And our weekly building community interview as well this week. We are going to focus in on the St. Louis Sports Foundation and speak with their director, Solomon Alexander. You're going to hear that at about 7:20. Blues hockey, they made that little run. All of us, they got within as few as 3 points of a playoff spot. They're now 6 points out. It probably just not meant to be. You appreciate the fact that they were able to make a little bit of a run, but not looking great. Coming off a loss to Colorado their last time out. They split the series, the 2-game back-to-back against Colorado, winning in Denver on Sunday, but then losing at home on Tuesday by a 3-1 score. Blues coach Jim Montgomery did spend some time speaking with the media earlier today. Thought this was interesting because, we talk about the Cardinals and their relentlessness. Well, the Colorado Avalanche defensively, absolutely relentless in what they do. And the Blues would like to be that team. And Monty spent a little bit of time talking about watching the Avs play defense and where the Blues are in comparison to Colorado.
We're striving to get to that level. We've gotten closer. Like I said, we're 6th in goals against since November 1st. So we've done a pretty good job of it, but it's the consistency of everybody wanting to check like that. When I see McKinnon and Nick ask guys with, one with 52 goals, the other one with almost 40. And they're committed to being first guys back and when the goal line races back to your own end and then being physical down low. It sends the right messages to everybody. Like you expect that Taves is going to do that. It's part of his job and DNA as a defenseman. But just the way they angle and the way they put you in hard areas and they don't let you beat them back to the net. I mean, it was really hard to find us. We've been trying to do a good job of it, of move the puck up high and beat people to the net. And they were boxing us out right in the corners, and it's just a team that's committed to playing the right way.
Blues have shuffled the lines a little bit once again, and one of the moves as a result of that, Pavel Buchnevich is back in the center spot. He's going to center the second line. He is somebody that has not put up the numbers you would like him to put up this year, has at times been certainly a contributing player. So this was what Monty had to say in terms of what he's seen, especially recently from Buchnevich.
It's a hard question to answer because he's not producing offensively. He's had a lot of odd man rushes that, either he or whoever's with him hasn't been able to make finishing plays on. Defensively, there's been games where he's been dynamite, and his ability to read the ice, his hockey sense offensively and defensively is what makes him a really good player. And when he plays to those strengths, that's when he helps us.
Thought this was really interesting. So Jake Neighbors recently has kind of beat himself up about his play, and it feels like he's somebody that feels like he should be doing more on an any given night basis. So when a coach sees somebody, specifically in this situation, Jake Neighbors, speaking in the media and kind of blaming himself for a lot of what's going on, what goes through the mind, especially for Jim Montgomery?
People in general on our side of the fence try to tell people not to beat themselves up in the media, not to take too much blame. But I love it when someone takes ownership. And I'm not saying he should take ownership, but he cares so much about the team that he's not playing to the standard that he expects. So he has no problem taking that upon himself. And that's why he's such a great teammate and a great player. And someone you want in the locker room all the time. Jake Neighbors is someone that you go in there and you talk to any teammate and they're going to get a smile on their face right away because Jake Neighbors is inviting them to play pickleball. He's inviting them to go to dinner on the road. He's doing all those little things when we're going out for start the game. He has a handshake with everybody. He has a nickname for everybody. And he's just an energy guy that breeds positivity. And for him to take account like that, I don't want him to make a habit of it, but it does show the integrity he has about being a Blue.
That is Blues coach Jim Montgomery. They are in action tonight over at the Enterprise Center as they match up against Winnipeg. Puck drop is going to be coming up just a little bit after the top of the hour. And we'll see what they can do tonight. Only 5 games left in the regular season for the Blues. Really quickly, I've had a good number of questions about this. John Denton, who covers the Cardinals for Roundtable Sports, he tweeted out a little while ago that he heard from Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom, on Packy Naughton. If you didn't hear last night, Packy went out of a game due to injury. He has been placed on the injured list at the minor league level, but they do not have more information about the severity of the injury quite yet. This is Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Sony is hiking prices for its PlayStation 5 gaming console as the company looks to offset soaring memory prices. Sony says the standard and digital versions of the PlayStation will rise by $100. The Pro Edition will go up by $150, and the Portal handheld device goes up by $50. There is a shortage of memory chips resulting from AI demand, and that's pressuring prices for PCs and video game consoles. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
More than they used to, or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow. If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Save big money on your next project with help from Menards. Be prepared for flooding and keep your basement dry with Barracuda pumps. Barracuda makes high-quality pumps that offer dependable performance for when you need it most. Save big money on all Barracuda pumps now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
All hail Spamalot, the Tony Award-winning best musical comedy that will have you laughing your coconuts off. The Washington Post declares Monty Python's Spamalot is the funniest musical on Broadway. Entertainment Weekly calls it a hilarious fun fest. The Washington Post says it's unfair to laugh this much. Get your tickets now for the musical comedy event of the year, Spamalot, playing the Fabulous Fox May 5th through 17th. Tickets at fabulousfox.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump is threatening to resume attacks on Iran if it fails to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz. CBS's Ed O'Keefe has more on diplomatic talks taking place in the coming days.
Vance is expected to leave Friday for the talks scheduled for Saturday in Islamabad, Pakistan. He'll be joined by top Trump envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Iranian state media reports the country's parliamentary speaker and foreign minister are expected to attend the talks. If they go forward as planned, it would be the highest level face-to-face meeting between senior leaders of the two countries since President Jimmy Carter met with the Shah of Iran in 1978.
Sources tell CBS News that the U.S. will host talks between Israel and Lebanon next week. First Lady Melania Trump says she was never friends with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and calls those who have made claims to the contrary mean-spirited.
At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings.
She's calling on Congress to allow Epstein survivors to testify in public. A sheriff's deputy has been killed in Central California and a suspect is holed up in a home. The Tulare County Sheriff says a SWAT team has cleared nearby homes during what he calls an extremely dangerous situation. The NFL is defending itself as the Justice Department investigates whether the league is overcharging consumers.
Senator Mike Lee, chair of the subcommittee on antitrust, competition policy, and consumer rights, notes that the NFL is now licensing games to paid premium cable and streaming networks instead of to a small number of free broadcast networks. But the NFL says more than 87% of its games are on free broadcast television, and it has put fans front and center in how its content is distributed for decades. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
After their historic moon mission, the Artemis II crew is due back on Earth tomorrow night with a splashdown off Southern California. NASA's Amit Kshatriya.
We have high confidence in the system and the heat shield and the parachutes and the recovery systems we put together. The engineering supports it. The Artemis I flight data supports it. All of our ground test supports it. Our analysis supports it. And tomorrow the crew is going to put their lives behind that confidence.
A former New York City police sergeant is sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison for the death of a drug suspect. CBS's Michael Wallace reports.
Eric Dupree had allegedly sold drugs to an undercover officer and was fleeing on a motorized scooter, ran through a cooler at Dupree, knocking him into a parked car. Dupree died of a head injury. Orleanos Velez is Dupree's widow.
3 years. 3 years waiting for justice.
Duran testified he threw the cooler because he was worried Dupree was going to crash into other officers. Prosecutors argued he was trying to save an arrest, not lives.
This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
At 7:04, partly cloudy and 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Aquina, in for Michael Calhoun. The state-appointed Board of Police Commissioners is standing their ground in the face of the mayor's lawsuit seeking to regain control of the department. The budget negotiations, Mayor Spencer says, reached an impasse when the commissioners stood by their $250 million budget request, which Mayor Spencer says would bankrupt the city and result in many cuts in order to save cost. Board Attorney Chris Gravel says they are still seeking a greater understanding of that.
There's this comment about the devastating impact on the other employees and on the budget, and it was a question of, can you explain that to us so we can understand that better?
Chief Robert Tracy, asked about the department morale, says this can be a distraction, but it is their job just to try and get by.
Try to keep them going out and do their job. Let us deal with this. Let us deal with the press conferences. Let us deal with the budget. And you guys go out and do your job because we have your back.
Commissioner Sonia Jenkins Gray says they were caught off guard by the lawsuit. The St. Louis County Jail is short correctional officers.
Janelle Coleman, the acting director of the county's justice services, oversees the jail and says the issue is there are a lot of openings for COs in the greater St. Louis area, and many of those jails pay better.
And right now that competition is paying better. We are working with the county executive's office and the county council to address that issue. But once again, that's difficult when there's already a budget crunch.
Coleman says they are short 80 correctional officers out of around 300 they are budgeted for. She adds this, combined with being near capacity, means less recreational time for detainees and greater stress on the overall operations of the jail. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Well, will U.S.-Iran peace talks begin tomorrow when there is only a fragile agreement on where things actually stand?
The Trump administration seems to believe that they are in ascendancy, and of course they've pummeled Iran relentlessly for several weeks. But the Iranians feel like they've gained the upper hand. The regime has consolidated its strength.
And it controls the Strait of Hormuz. According to John Shaw with the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute, he's at SIU. Additionally, Shaw says President Trump's goals and objectives to keep shifting, and the Iranians will enter Friday's Pakistani peace talks knowing that they have twice negotiated with the Trump administration, but at the same time during bombings. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Desk, we get the latest on our forecast from Dave Murray.
Mild times for evening plans, mild all night long, only going down to 61 with increasing clouds, a little breezy. All is dry. Friday, clouds dominate. Couple of scattered showers, non-severe thunderstorms around. No all-day rain, 73. Friday night, clouds, couple of scattered showers and non-severe thunderstorms, 53. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, nothing more than a couple of spotty showers. Lots of dry time, 76. Much the same on Sunday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
78 in St. Peter, 77 in Florissant, and 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
And I'm Matt Pauley. I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at STL Weight Loss Injections. I am a client. I'm about 2 months into my journey. Look, whether you're listening on the radio, watching on TV, or on the internet, you're constantly getting just message after message after message of the latest and greatest on what you can do to lose some weight. And I want to be perfectly honest with where my journey is at and why this might be the thing for you. I am somebody, I have struggled with my weight in my life. It's a very frustrating thing for me because I feel like I do all the right things, whether it's working out, whether it's eating relatively healthy. I acknowledge the fact that I could probably sleep a little bit more, and maybe that has something to do with it. But I'm also somebody who's working late at night and has a couple kids at home, and there's just stressors that go on. And we all have different situations and different stuff going on, and there might be parts of our lives that we just can't do things as healthy as we would like, and we need a little bit of help. And that's where STL weight loss injections come in. It is a GLP-1. You read about people losing all kinds of weight on this in the news, and celebrities are on it and the whole 9 yards. And maybe you've thought about it, but you don't know where to start. You don't know even who to have a conversation with to figure out if you are a candidate. Well, I would encourage you to talk to the folks at STL Weight Loss Injections. They're wonderful people. When I first went in and met with them, we sat down in a room and we kind of went over everything. There was no guarantee that I was going to be a good candidate when we first talked about it, but I was, and I've started, and I'm seeing results, and I'm very happy about it. And it's something that I continue to be excited about, and I'd be excited for you as well if you want to go down this path. Talk to them. That's all my thing. That's my thing. Just talk to them and see whether or not it's a fit for you. Head to the website, stlweightlossinjections.com, stlweightlossinjections.com. $199 for the first month. You can schedule an appointment online. The phone number is online, stlweightlossinjections.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are back at it as we get into hour number 2 of the program. One of the great resources we have here at KMOX. It's pretty remarkable how long he has been doing what he does for KMOX, calling golf. It's our friend Dan Reardon, who is in Augusta covering the Masters. Dan, appreciate you taking some time with us. How are you?
I'm fine. And it's been a day that I don't know that I can remember a day like today in terms of what we ended up with on the leaderboard at the end of the day.
What makes you say that?
Because out of the first 9 players on the leaderboard, seven of them have won major championships, and those 7 have combined for 15 majors. So you have good leaderboards in major championships because they're the best players in the world, and you expect them to populate the top of the board. And literally, Sam Burns, who's tied for the lead, is one without a major, and Kirk Hideyama, who has won on the PGA Tour, is in that group. But you have McIlroy, the current champion. You have Schauffele, a 2-time major winner. You have Justin Rose, a U.S. Open champion. You have a Grand Slam field. Every Grand Slam has a winner on this leaderboard. It's just an amazing group of people. Now, the course is absolutely perfect. There was absolutely no wind today, and that's supposed to be true tomorrow, and that's supposed to be true on Saturday. There may be some wind on Sunday. So the opportunity to play good golf was out there. But the other part of the leaderboard is there are people at the opposite end. How do you explain Bryson DeChambeau shooting 76?
Yeah.
How do you explain John Rahm, who was almost everybody's number 1 pick? I know Golf Digest said he's the number 1 pick. He shoots 78, and a lot of people like the left-hander Robert McIntyre. He shot 80. So it's the same golf course, and all these guys are out there, and yet we have this just amazing group of talented players at the top of the board, and it sets things up for a weekend. This isn't going to go away. They may not shoot these same numbers tomorrow because, of course, will become harder and harder as it dries and firms up. But we're in for, I think, a really treat over the next 3 days as this leaderboard moves around. Keep in mind, Brooks Koepka is at even par. Jordan Spieth is at even par. There are guys that we're not even talking about who are within 5 shots of the lead at this point in time.
Do you get the sense that the folks at Augusta, because all they can really do is, once the tournament gets going, is pin placement, and I know they'll do some things, but do they want to see the low scores, or is that something that they try to do things to make sure that doesn't happen?
I've always made the comparison, and I don't know if it's flattering or unflattering, but I always said, because this is the only golf course where they play a major every year, and this golf course has unlimited resources in terms of what they do out here year round in terms of the conditioning. And I've always made the analogy that this golf course is like a car in NASCAR. They can tweak it to run fast. They can tweak it to run on every kind of track. And in this case, they create the track. I promise you, Matt, on Sunday on the back 9, you're going to see birdies, you're going to see eagles, because they like to see that. And they will probably come back at this field with more severe pin placements, maybe not tomorrow, maybe on Saturday when they want to move the leaderboard around. But they do have control. And then the other thing I learned for the first time, and I've been here for a long time, they have this sub-air system, and they're one of the first courses in the world to have it, which if they got a tremendous rainfall, they can suck all the moisture off the greens almost immediately and play. What I never knew to be true is they can turn that system around and they can push moisture up into the greens. So if this golf course gets away from them, if they misjudge the weather a little bit and it becomes almost, like Shinnecock several years ago, where it gets a little clownish in terms of what it's doing to the field, they can change that. They can overnight push moisture up into the greens and bring back. They can't do it during the round because you can't change the playing characteristics of the course while play is going on. But they can do that if they want. They're just unbelievably good at what they do.
Scotty Scheffler is sitting 3 strokes back, 2 under. He's the best golfer seemingly walking the face of the earth right now, the favorite to win this. What did you think of his first day?
I think he did exactly what he needed to do. Remember, he's been away for 3 weeks because they welcome a new child into the family. He struggled a little bit in the middle of this first quarter of the season, and he struggled with the driver. So the question is, did all that time away hurt Scotty? And Scotty, when he went a little south with his game, and when we say south, he finished 22nd and 24th, I believe, and then had a 12th place finish, and that was considered poor golf. When that happened to him, it was because he shot poor opening rounds. He came out and didn't play well on that first day and then climbed the leaderboard and couldn't quite catch the eventual winners. Well, he's 3 strokes back of the top of this board. And McIlroy is going to face unusual challenges because he is the current champion. And Burns has never won a championship. And Katayama, none of them have on their resume, other than maybe Rose and Schauffele, none of them have on their current resume the playing success that Scheffler has. That doesn't mean he's going to win. But if I was placing money at this time, I'd be rooting for the guy who is the most proven success.
Well, Dan, we'll be listening to you all weekend long. We so appreciate what you bring to us at KMOX with just this incredible golf knowledge and covering the Masters every year. Thank you so much for joining us for a few minutes tonight.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for the time, Matt.
You bet. That's Dan Reardon joining us on the program, and we appreciate him spending a little bit of time with us. And yeah, he's right. Maybe the networks worked this out because the names, for the most part, the names that you want at the top of the leaderboard are the names, and there's a few back that he mentioned for sure, the Bryson DeChambeaus and the Bubba Watsons and guys like that. But that's a star-studded top of the leaderboard right now for the Masters. Make sure to be tuned in as Dan will continue his coverage of the Masters throughout the weekend right here on KMOX. I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at i3 Broadband. I love i3 Broadband. They are the internet service provider at my home. I can't talk about them enough because if you're somebody that you've got a lot of devices that are connected to your Wi-Fi and you just feel like everything is getting bogged down, well, you need a little bit more bandwidth. You need a little bit more speed. You probably need a little bit more speed that is being mirrored from an upload and a download standpoint. That's always the biggest thing. That's what I didn't really know, like how much that could make a difference. I went from having internet that was, 1 gig download, I don't know what it was upload, and then I went to i3 Broadband where they always mirror their speeds, and it made all the difference in the world. It's fiber right into your home. They're going to come in, they're going to take care of you. They're just the best internet. We deal with so many internet service providers out there that you just get frustrated with. That's not i3. Great customer service. The reliability is awesome. Basically, I can tell you, they almost never go down. I used to have outages all the time with my previous provider. It doesn't happen with i3 Broadband, really. It's great. I tell you that I love it, and I would never switch from them. They're great. You want to see if they're available in your neighborhood? Would encourage you to go to their website, i3broadband.com/radio, i3broadband.com/radio.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Step into a world of mystery and beauty with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in From Mozart to Wagner, Mysticism and Wonder. Conductor Hannu Lintu leads a luminous weekend from Wagner's shimmering Lohengrin prelude to the grandeur of Respighi's Church Windows. Pianist Jan Lisiecki makes his SLSO debut to perform one of Mozart's spellbinding piano concertos April 18th and 19th at Powell Hall. Tickets at slso.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for, I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, April 14th and 16th at Bartolino's Twin Oaks. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Find out if your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or Registered Investment Advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Back at it on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. This is one of my favorite things that we have just started doing over the last few weeks. Building community with Busey Bank beyond the game. Really, really appreciate Busey Bank allowing us to do this. At Busey Bank, they know that behind every successful business is someone who believes in what's possible. Through flexible financing and a true partnership, they help you turn what ifs into what is. Busey Bank, building extraordinary together. So what we do each week is we take an individual or we take an organization that is making the community better through sports. And you've heard about the St. Louis Sports Commission. I think most people are very familiar with that amazing organization. They have a charitable arm, the St. Louis Sports Foundation. And the executive director of the St. Louis Sports Foundation is Solomon Alexander, and he joins us on the program right now. Solomon, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. How are you?
I am doing great, Matt. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So just before we jump into some of the specifics, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now that are not familiar with the St. Louis Sports Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys do and why you exist?
Sure. The Sports Commission is a 501c6 organization, and without getting into all the tax code stuff, it's basically like a chamber of commerce. And the Sports Commission's aim is to attract high-profile sporting events for St. Louis, and of course, produce those events, for growth and for the betterment of the region, basically making St. Louis a better place to live, visit, work, and play through sports. Well, connected to that is the St. Louis Sports Foundation, which is the 501c3 charitable affiliate of the Sports Commission, and its mission is to foster amateur sports competitions, opportunities for youth and adults to participate in sports, and build a culture of sportsmanship so St. Louisans lead healthier, happier lives. And our focus is sportsmanship with the foundation because, to put it in a nutshell, when you forget the scores of the game and you may forget who won what in which year, nobody forgets how people treat them. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen somebody in a week or 20 years. Your relationship with most people is based on how they treated you. And we think that's the first step in participation in sports, keeping kids involved in sports, and really helping everyone enjoy sports.
I read one time where Mark Schreiber referred to you as the sportsmanship evangelist. Why is sportsmanship so important to you?
Sportsmanship is important to me because it goes back to what I said previously. You always remember, and I think I've got a pretty good sports memory in terms of where I was when Ozzie Smith, hit the game-winning home run in 1985. And I remember, when Joe Buck famously told us all, "We'll see you tomorrow night." But in all of those sports memories and all of those results, within that is how you feel as a community and like how we like those moments feel great as a St. Louisan because everyone was involved. Everyone was pushing toward the same positive direction. No, we weren't on the field, but in spirit, we were all together and we were all part of one family. And the thing with sportsmanship is that it is result neutral. How you treat people shouldn't matter. Like the results shouldn't matter. The score shouldn't matter. Whether or not you get a trophy or a prize shouldn't matter. Because the number one thing in this life is like the most important thing is how you treat other people. And for us, that is the most important thing because that is what people remember. That is the legacy. That's what will carry on long after our time has passed.
Before you were even involved with the foundation and the St. Louis Sports Commission, I know you were at Lift for Life Academy and gym, and you were a teacher, but you did sports stuff as well. You were involved in with the weightlifting and track and field, and a wrestling coach. Can you just speak to the impact that sports can have, especially on young people growing up, and how that can really help them find their way?
Sports in and of themselves, I think one of the things that sports are able to do, they help kids find out what they're good at. Because there are always going to be the more popular sports like the big, like your football, your basketball, your hockey, your baseball. But when you get a kid that tries track and field for the first time, dozens of events within track, whether they're throwing, running, jumping, what have you. They try weightlifting for the first time. They do something that is kind of off the path for everyone else, but it's their path. And sports helps kids, I think, initially find their own way. And then like even those that play like the more popular sports, you're still able to find your own way. You know what? I'm pretty good at this, or like even if I don't make it to a Division I or as a professional, it's like I'm good enough at this to be on a team, or I'm good enough at this where other people want me around. Like they want me at practice, they want me at games. My parents are coming to see me, and it helps kids with identity. Because now I have value. It's not all the value that I have, but I'm finding my way through this sport, and everyone's cheering me on, and it feels awesome. So I think that's the first thing relative to sports and the effect effect that they have on kids. I think other things like teamwork and selflessness and hard work and really all of those other things, it depends on the team you're on. It kind of depends on the program that's built around you after that, because some programs do a fantastic job of developing young people, and some programs could do a little bit better.
We are talking right now and having a very fun and cool conversation with somebody who makes a huge impact through sports in the St. Louis area, Solomon Alexander from the St. Louis Sports Foundation. The Musial Awards is such a major event that happens in our community every year. I was talking with former Major League outfielder Brett Phillips, who played for the Rays and the Brewers. I saw him at the baseball winter meetings. Yeah. And he said to me, because I asked him to come on the show, he said, I will always come on in St. Louis because one of the best nights ever of my life, the coolest experience of my life, was being able to be featured at the Musial Awards. What can you just? And I thought that was so cool. Somebody who doesn't have much of a connection to the city as well. This event that's on every single year is amazing. And then I know you guys take it one step forward with the Musial Moments program, where you go out to schools and have a program that takes some of the lessons learned from that night.
Absolutely. The Musial Awards are the most important night in sports. They're an extraordinary night because the Musials take all of the intangibles from sports and tell the absolute best stories from really around the world. I mean, we've been international. We've had some international stories over time. And the thing with the Musial Awards that helped them, I think, stand out is it really, like, they really capture the essence of how you treat other people. That's really what grabs you really from the first story. And it doesn't matter what year, and it doesn't matter what your favorite sport is. It doesn't matter if you really know the details of the sport that we're covering, but every story captures the essence of like one person or one group of people did something extraordinary for someone else. And on a human level, that touches us all. And Brett Phillips, my goodness, one of my one of the things I want to improve on with our Musial Moments program, which you mentioned, which we take, like, we basically package 3 of the stories from the award show, and we made it into a 45-minute presentation, about a period-long program for a school, and take it to a school where they have an all-school assembly, and I go out and talk to the kids about Stan Musial and his legacy and the award show, and then show them 3 of these stories. And the Brett Phillips, Chloe Grimes story is by far the most popular, by far the most impactful of the ones that we do, because it's not just with Chloe being a young lady with cancer who was befriended by this major league player. It's not just that. It's the power of being able to overcome something devastating. And what I think young people see, and I think the adults see it through her as well, is that when you listen to that entire story, the only person who doesn't mention cancer is Chloe. And as an adult, that convicted me because I complain about everything. I drop my phone. This isn't going right. Traffic is terrible. Why? Oh, woe is me. And Chloe doesn't do that. She doesn't do woe is me. She's had cancer surgery. She's been in hospitals and all these things. And she says during the story, she says, I believe in myself and I know I can do it. She said that at 9 years old. I am 50 and there are people I know that don't say that. So that it is emotional, it's inspiring, it's uplifting, like it's all of those things wrapped into one. Like the stories make you cry and then they make you want to charge hard through the brick wall of life. So it's just awesome. It really is.
That's really, really cool. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about the Let 'Em Play program and how important it is to support and grow referee participation, and just the reminder that, why referees need to be respected by everybody involved?
Absolutely. Let 'Em Play is a program that we started shortly after sort of the COVID emergency started to subside a little bit, because we were noticing, we were getting calls about this, about youth tournaments and games in the area being canceled because there weren't enough officials. And after some investigation, there were two big things that were happening, actually three. Because of COVID adversely affected older people, and older Americans are the ones who tend to be refs. And so some of them unfortunately passed away. Others didn't want to take the chance, take the health risk of coming back. And then you also had the combination of COVID risk and how they're treated by fans, actually parents, at games. So why am I going to take a health risk and a safety risk by dealing with people who call me everything but a child of God on these fields? So I'm not doing it anymore. And you turn around one day and you don't have enough reps. And so different youth leagues came to us and said, hey, what can we do? And we're like, well, we're not the sportsmanship police, but what we can do is we can help provide a positive message and help people understand how important referees and officials are to play the games that we love so much. We need them out there. We absolutely need them out there to call the games fairly. And if you look at the essence of what a referee does, particularly at the youth level, for most of them, that's their way of giving back to their sport. Like they soccer refs, they don't care who wins, the 9U championship. I mean, they really don't. but what they're trying to do is give back to those 9-year-olds and really help them learn the game the right way and help them enjoy the game. And hopefully they'll grow up, have kids of their own, and they'll give back to the game. So, sort of just to keep things going. And then if you look at things in perspective, we're like, okay, here's what we need to do. Let them play. Let the kids play. Let the referees do what they need to do. And it really goes back to one of the origins of the Sports Foundation, which is a booklet we had when I started back in 2007 called Know Your Role. And basically, like the way that it broke down was choose one role in sports and respect the others. If you're going to be an athlete, fine, play. But if you're going to be an athlete, then you can't be a ref at the same time, or you can't be a coach at the same time. If you're going to be a fan, be a fan. Be a screaming, cheering fan, love it. But you can't be a ref at the same time or a coach at the same time. So if you know your role and respect the others, then that'll help everyone enjoy the game. And Let Them Play is an extension of that. We do referee appreciation night with the Blues, where we go out and dress like officials and respect the refs and cheer for them, which in its essence is kind of over the top, but it makes people recognize the importance of officials and why we need them so much. So I don't want anyone within the sound of my voice to take officials for granted, because they don't have to do the jobs that they do. They don't have to chase after our kids the way they do. They're really trying to give back to the game. And yes, we all make mistakes, but trust that it's not intentional. It's not with malice. They just want everyone to enjoy the game the way they did. And so we want to support them.
Just a couple more questions for you. You're being very gracious with your time,
Sure.
and we appreciate it. Referees give back to their sport, but coaches, youth coaches, give back to their sports so much as well. And you guys do Coach It Right clinics. And I think this is really cool because you talk about something that is long lasting. These youth coaches impact so many kids. So when you're able to impact the coaches, it's just a domino effect from there.
It is. Coach It Right is about really helping coaches help kids. I was at a seminar some years ago, and sometimes when you're at youth seminars and you hear international coaches, sometimes they kind of bag on the U.S. and I had kind of one ear closed to that because I was like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear, the dragging United States, you guys do too much of this and that. But one coach did have a point. He said, the United States best coaches coach your best athletes. And that's the opposite of what is done internationally. And again, this was so long ago, Phil Jackson was still coaching, but he said the reason that Phil Jackson, and he just actually said this, he said the reason Phil Jackson looks like he's taking a nap on the Lakers sideline is because Kobe Bryant doesn't need him to coach him. Kobe knows what to do. I said, oh, wow, he's right. But an 8-year-old would love to have Phil Jackson's knowledge. Wow. Now, obviously, we can't get coaches of that caliber in, for like a youth clinic, but what we can do is we can reach out to the best coaches in our area, the best youth sports coaches that we know of, get them in to help youth coaches coach kids at the appropriate level. Because what ends up happening is if you have a youth coach, let's say, and again, I've got sort of this 9-year-old thing on the brain, but you got somebody who's coaching 9-year-olds. And the furthest this guy got, like, let's say he played in college. What tends to happen is that coach will give his college workouts to the 9-year-olds. Not out of malice. He's not a bad guy. Doesn't mean any harm, but that's what he knows. And he thinks that works. Well, yeah, it did. It works when you were 20, but it doesn't work on 9-year-olds. 9-year-olds want to have fun, and the game has to be presented that way. So what we do is we get coaches and like experts in that help youth coaches teach at the appropriate level. Help them teach and coach at the appropriate level, so everyone has fun, including the coaches, and they all and them along with the kids have a positive experience.
Really cool stuff. Last thing for you, sportsmanship scholarship. You guys do that. Can you share with that how much you give, who you're looking to give that to, and just the opportunity, and really why this is part of what the St. Louis Sports Foundation does?
Well, the Carl Fricks Sportsmanship Scholarship is presented every year to graduating St. Louis area high school seniors. It can be any senior in the 15-county metro area, public, private, parochial, doesn't matter. Seniors who show outstanding sportsmanship on the field of play, and it doesn't matter if you're all district or you're the last person at the end of the bench. If you've done something extraordinary for someone else on the field, particularly an opponent, because we really look favorably on those who do things for people who they don't necessarily have to. We reward those kids with college scholarships, and it's been a really rewarding thing over the past 17 years. And so we're giving $15,000 in scholarships again this year. The deadline is April 14th, and any and all information can be found at sportsmanship.org.
Very, very good. I know on the calendar, the Biz Dash is coming up on May 7th. The Musial Awards will be back on November 21st. Details about the foundation and everything you do, just head to the Sports Commission website, stlsports.org, and you'll see you can just get to the Sports Foundation page from there. Solomon, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for everything that you and the foundation do, and appreciate you being so gracious with your time.
Matt, thank you again for having me, and yeah, this was awesome. Thank you.
That is Solomon Alexander. He is the director of the St. Louis Sports Foundation, and we certainly appreciate him as this is building a community with Busey Bank beyond the game. Do want to remind you about Busey Bank and the amazing things they do. At Busey Bank, they know that behind every financial choice is someone ready to build something extraordinary. From stronger communities to thriving businesses and lasting legacies, they help you turn intention into impact. Busey Bank, building extraordinary together. We'll take one more break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up this edition of the program. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
The spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week's flash sale, $50 per room of carpet clean for unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com to book your appointment. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
I'm Altima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair, their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
The pressure on data centers has never been greater. Whether you're expanding capacity, supporting AI workloads, or building new facilities, Graybar works alongside you with the solutions, specialists, and logistics expertise you need today. We help you power performance every step of the way, so your operation is ready now. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too, youridoc.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap things up on this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Did want to mention before we get out of here, this is really, really cool. 9 SLU players have committed to returning to the Billikens next season, which really, I can't sit here and give you the numbers for every college basketball team across the country, but there's a lot more teams out there that are basically refilling an entire roster where everybody is essentially gone than teams that are bringing back that many players. The only ones who are not going to be back, Brady Dunlap has announced that he's in the transfer portal, and then also Kalu Anya going into the transfer portal as well. Everybody else that still had eligibility to go, they're all going to be back. That includes guys like Kellen Thames and Quentin Jones and Trey Green and Mari McCautry and Insha Sharma, Jax Kerr, a bunch of them, like 9 guys in total. That's great news. That's fantastic news. And so much was made of, was Josh Schertz going to stick around or was he not going to stick around? And I think most people thought that he was going to. I don't know what the shelf life is on him. It seems like he's very committed to SLU, and it would take a really, really special situation for him to move on. But at the very least, he's back for another year. This is a team that I think will likely be ranked in the top 25 in the preseason. That seems like something that's a good possibility. And I say that largely because there's been some of these like power rankings that have already come out looking ahead to next season. And I've already seen SLU on there. Now, maybe as transfer portal happenings occur and some of these teams really start to reload themselves with some big-time players in the portal, maybe that knocks SLU down a little bit. They're always going to have a little something going against them because they're playing in the Atlantic 10 Conference, and there's going to be a bias towards the power conference teams. But all that being said, they're going to go into next year likely in the preseason top 25. Certainly they'll be the preseason number 1 team in the Atlantic 10 Conference. And you just really hope that this continues to be the start of something really, really sustained for this program. The money that's being spent, you look at the NIL budget for the players, it stands up with a lot of power conference teams out there, which is a testament to the support that SLU is receiving, which is really, really cool. And it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. That's it for the program today. Again, tomorrow we have Cardinals baseball for you. It's going to be a fun weekend. Hopefully there's a little bit of a buzz to the ballpark this weekend. You've got the Boston Red Sox coming to town. So that's a name team that you only see in St. Louis on an every other year basis. An opportunity to see Wilson Contreras, not an opportunity to see Sonny Gray. He is not going to pitch in this series for the Red Sox, but just a lot of momentum, a lot of positive things happening with this team right now. And it's going to be fun to see what things look like here over this next homestand with 3 against the Red Sox and then 3 against Cleveland. So a couple teams coming in. I know the Red Sox had a slow start to their season, but they're a good team. They are a good team, and they're going to be all right. They ended up just taking 2 of 3 from Milwaukee. Hopefully that wasn't the start of something for them. But I think when all is said and done at the end of the year, they're going to be in pretty good shape. So we'll have a full Redbird Rush Hour coming up tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour, Kevin, Bernie, and myself. And then we'll jump into Cardinals baseball with our pregame show at about 6:20 or so. And we'll go from there. And it's going to be fun. Our first Friday Night Live after the game. But yeah, hopefully if you're on the fence about going, I would strongly encourage you to get out and watch the Cardinals this weekend as they match up against the Red Sox. 7:15 first pitch Friday, 6:15 first pitch Saturday, 1:15 first pitch on a kids Sunday over at the ballpark. Thanks so much for being tuned in. We've got our Gas House Gang replay. That's on the way next. This has been a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Turn your tax refund into new tile at Menards.